Jurassic World of Discovery, or JWOD for short, is a discovery in itself. This massive theme park takes complex but simple theming to an entire different level. With our number of attractions here, we are sure to offer you the service and excitement that you are looking for. We've gathered some questions that some of our helping staff and other followers of the park, and we are here to answer them. Here are the top 15 questions we've gathered, and we hope you enjoy. So, in total, it took me about 5 hours to build the entire park from the time that I started it to the time that I finished the park entirely. It's been 5 months. I started this park all the way back in, I want to say July. Yes, end of July. So July, August, September, October, November, December. So 5 months. And it's been a very, very fun, I would say, adventure through everything that I've been through and all the challenges that I faced with this park. So the hardest thing for me to build was most definitely the mountain in the back. That mountain was super complex. It may not look complex, but it was very hard to build, simply because with the new resize tool that we had gotten a while ago, if you had resized it all the way to the max, like for instance like a bush or a tree, it would say that like the item is out of bounds, and like you could place it in the middle of your park and it would say it's out of bounds. So I had that problem a lot with the mountain. And then I also had too many items, and then also I had a problem with consistency. It took me a good bit. It wasn't the longest thing. It didn't take me the longest, but it was quite a challenge as well, because I didn't have the flying coaster inside of the mountain at all. So, well, actually, yes, take that back. I made the flying coaster first, and then I did the mountain work around the flying coaster. So that's how the mountain was made. So I had to even focus on clearance with the coaster, and then I also had to fit an entire another coaster in the bottom part of the mountain. It's a whole lot. That mountain was a roller coaster of its own. So. A detail that most people would overlook would probably be, I would say, the Terrascoaster's Terrascoaster's gift shop. The gift shop for Terrascoaster was a very like quick thing, but it had a whole lot of detail inside of it and put into it that, it a lot of people overlook it, because usually when after they get off of the ride, they go straight to the gift shop, and they just go past the gift shop, because the gift shop is in the Discovery Center, and a lot of people love the Discovery Center in itself. So a lot of people just go, they look around for like a quick second, and then they would like leave the gift shop like instantly. So they don't really pay attention to the details and everything, and small details that you actually see inside of the gift shop. So that's a detail that people overlook a lot. So it was pretty challenging, I would say, to build the park. It wasn't inevitably insanely hard, but it was challenging at some times. I know with like some cues and velocity, that was a ride that was kind of challenging for me, because it went through a whole lot of transformations and everything. But the final result of that ride I'm really proud of. But yeah, the park itself it wasn't too hard. There was a lot of creative aspects. A lot of the park is like literally just me just placing blocks and then just going off of that block and then placing another block, and it just keeps going and going until I build something. That's inevitably how the Discovery Center got built, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. But It's been pretty challenging. I love building parks, but I have not built a park on my own since Archaea, and that park wasn't as complex as this one. This park is way more complex and it has a bunch more theming and everything else, and it's just an overall better park. So yeah, I had my challenges, but I think I overcame them, and the results came out pretty good. So I built everything in the park. The Discovery Center itself was not challenging, but it was creatively built on. So I started out trying to build the actual Discovery Center from Islands of Adventure, but I wanted to have a custom theme park, and it wouldn't really be custom if I had a recreation of it. And if I slightly modified it, it would still look exactly the same. So I decided to completely redesign the entire thing, and I started with the first blocks at the entrance, and then I kept going from there. So that's how that was made. So the inspiration for the Discovery Center, I would definitely say, is my own creative mind, because it was, like I said before, it was completely custom, and nothing that you saw from like the other Discovery Centers is in this one. So it's really custom, and it just, if an idea came to me, I built it inside of the Discovery Center. And that was another thing for me. The exterior of the Discovery Center was what it didn't take me that long, but the interior of the Discovery Center is what took me a while. I After I got done with the exterior of the Discovery Center, I literally stopped working on the Discovery Center, and I went somewhere else and started building an entirely different section of the park. And that's how that was kind of interfered with. And then I came back and I started building the interior of it again once I had some ideas and everything, because I was out of ideas entirely for the interior of the DC. So I built all of the coasters. I The coasters were kind of rocky, not really rocky for me, but I did all of the layouts for them. Like, all the layouts are made by me, and they were thought of by me. And I know Coaster, that's the most obvious one. That was inspired by Coaster, but that was the only inspired one. The other ones were customly built, just piece after piece, and the layout was just made like that. I did have people such as Rye, Vlam, which is Michael, and Ani H, and they would come in sometimes and check the park, and like give me tips for the coasters and stuff. And so they helped a good bit with how things ran with some of the coasters, in terms of tips that they had, such as it could be like transitions or theming or anything like that. So they did a really good job with helping me out, so I'm grateful for that. So like I said earlier, I started building the park around July. This was after, right before it was time for me to start school. Well, not start school, start band camp and color guard camp. I started this park actually on a random day, and I started working on it for an hour. The first thing that I built in the entire park was Coaster's first launch. That was the track of the park. I did that, the station, the turn, and then the hold into the station, brake run, all that little piece of section of track. That's what I did first, and I even have a little recording of me starting everything, and it has a date on it too. I'll have to find it if I ever get around to looking for it. And yeah, that was when I started building the park. Once that random day got done and I worked for like an hour off the park, I took 2 weeks off. That was because of my band camps and color guard camps. And once I came back, it was starting school, and that's when I would come home after school and work on the park, and it's been like that for since till now. But yeah, majority of the progress that I had were like on nights where I did not go to sleep. That did happen quite a few times, or even like weekends. That's a big factor in it. And then also on breaks, such as now. I'm on Christmas break right now at the time that I'm recording this video. So yeah. How long did it take for me to make the flagship attraction? So Jurassic Coaster was a very widespread attraction. Like I just got done with that coaster, 2 days ago, and it's taken me 5 months to complete this ride. That may sound crazy, but it's true. The first thing that I made on this park, like I said earlier, was Jurassic Coaster Station, Final Break Run, and the launches. Well, yeah, the first launch, and I didn't do the second launch. I just did the first launch. And I stopped, and then I did everything else around it. And then I did the layout halfway about a month later. And then after that, it's been, upgrading some things and changing things around. And I'll get to a big factor of Jurassic Coaster's time period of what took me so long later on. We'll get to that in just a minute. So it was very, very time consuming, but yeah, it took me 5 months. So what inspired me to make this park was my old Jurassic World Discovery. Before this park, there was a previous Jurassic World Discovery, and this Jurassic World Discovery was humongous. And that park then it looks nothing like the new gen one, the current one. It looks nothing similar. The Discovery Center is completely different. In the old park, it was the recreation of the original one, and that Discovery Center took up half of the park. I'm not even lying. I built it too big. And then we had a river adventure, and then there was this huge Velocicoaster, custom Velocicoaster, and it was a little bit too crazy. That park was a little too much at the bottom half of the park, but at the top halves, it was very nice. I really enjoyed it, but I'm glad that things happened the way they did, and I made a new park. So yeah, that's what inspired me. So do I enjoy building this park? I absolutely adore building this park. It's been a very amazing experience for me. I would never have thought that I would have enjoyed this building this park as much as I do, and everything that I've done, it has been a goal for me. So like everything that I've built has been something that I've looked forward to building, and I really don't do, like, a big factor is interior design. Like there's not that much interior design in this park, but the queue lines are interior design, the inside of the buildings, inside of the Discovery Center are interior designs, inside of like caves and stuff, and the stations are also interior design. All that kind of stuff I'm not really good at, but I went outside of my comfort zone and put as much detail as I thought I could inside of the different areas, and I really enjoyed that. And I've been asking some of my friends, such as Christian and Michael and Isaac, and even Matthew. They've all give me tips and stuff on how to do interior design. I even had a lesson from, I think, Michael one time, and he was teaching me some things about interior design. We did good on those little sessions, and it paid off because I took those and incorporated them into my actual build in the park. So I loved every minute of this park, except the challenges that I faced. And some of those challenges that I faced were you know what, it's a question that'll be mentioned later on, but yeah. So the most time consuming thing that I made at this park was most definitely Jurassic Coaster's queue line. Other than Jurassic Coaster itself being 5 months long, the reason why is because the queue line is a bit a bit lengthy, I will say. People say it's really lengthy. Not really lengthy, but it can gather a weight. It can hold a lot of people inside of it, and I had to shorten it a little bit without eliminating the rooms. I just had to get rid of like switchbacks or certain queue line aspects of the room. So shorten it, and it improves it a good bit. But I was still getting some people saying that it's a little longer than they thought it would be. But the queue line in itself, I put so much detail into the queue line that it took me a long time. It took me at least 2 months to complete the queue line, and I still didn't get done with the queue line until 5 days ago, something like that. I don't know really when, but the queue line, the thing that took me the longest in the queue line was the pre-shows. It was a very complicated process, and when you have a voiceover team, it gets really interesting to see how people function and how they work. And the voiceover team did really good, and they were cooperative with me and the things that I asked for. And if they were able to do it, then they did it. If they weren't, then they did it. Sometimes I had to wait, and that was fine. But yeah, there was a lot of sequencing aspects inside of the queue line too that I had to take my precious time with, because hiding sequencers in this park is not really easy, simply because it's not exposed, but if you look longer than like 5 seconds, you will notice it. And if you and like, I don't want it to be random things, so I had to make like sequencer rooms underground and everything. And I even used like sequencers that are around the park that are like, such as things like as cashiers or control booths and stuff like that. Like, I had to think a little bit clever to save the sequencer, because I know there's like not a time limit, like a number of sequencers that you can only place in the park. I think it's 200, but yeah. So the reasoning for me making the custom pictures and working screens were to create a more realistic aspect in the park. I wanted the park to be somewhat realistic in some ways, and although I think I did really good with that aspect of what I was trying to go for, the custom pictures and the custom screens were my ideas at the not at the last minute, but getting near the end of the build. And it was something that it took me, I think, 2 days to sequence everything, all of the screens that I placed. There's multiple around the park, and when I release the park walkthrough, you'll see everything that there is to see about the park and the screens and everything. But it was very unique. I don't see many parks in this game that does working screens and everything the way I did. And I even did directions, like it would show you, like, for instance, Jurassic Coaster, and it will point an arrow to the direction that you need to go to get there. And so I thought that was a really clever move, and really nice addition to the park. So my favorite attraction at the park, again, would have to definitely be Jurassic Coaster. That ride is just amazing. I really love the ride so much, and it just gives me adrenaline. And the custom audios, there's custom audios for all of the rides, except, okay, so I take that back. There's custom audios for 2 of the rides, and that's Velocity and Jurassic Coaster. And the audio on those rides give it a whole new perspective, and it gives it more adrenaline and more excitement, and that blood rushing gut feeling. And it's just amazing, even watching it through a screen. Unfortunately, audio does not work in Roblox, but if it did and I uploaded the audio, it would be completely mind blowing to have the speakers in your ears and then seeing and riding the coaster for yourself, and everything just ties together. So once you see the POV for the ride, it will make all types of sense, and it'll be amazing. So yeah, that was my favorite attraction in the park. From the queue line to the entryway to the visuals, everything about that ride I love, and I'm so glad that I took my precious time with the ride at the end of the day, because it turned out to be amazing. So for the last question of today, we have the park stats, and this was an unusual question that I got. I've never been asked this before about my parks, but uh, one of one of the uh, one of the team's members asked this question, and so the park hours that I took in total were about 423 hours in total of build time. That is a very lot. There were days where I've like literally gone over 24 hours straight of just building with this park, and it has paid off in some cases. I lost sleep. I was very sleep deprived some of those days, but yeah, that's how long the park hours were. The park value is 19 million dollars. It's nearing 20 million. It's at the 19.4 to 5 million mark in dollar currency in the game. So it's a lot of money to build this park, and this is a very expensive park. I don't see a lot of parks that are this expensive in the game unless you're like spamming things constantly. So the number of attractions that we have are eight total attractions. That includes flat rides, thrill rides, family thrill rides, all that kind of stuff. Anything you can ride. So the roller coaster labels. This was an interesting sub question, and I had to ask him to explain it to me, so I could answer it thoroughly. And he meant like how many thrill rides do you have, how many food places, that kind of stuff. So we have two thrill rides, which are Jurassic Coaster and Sky Ripper. We have two family thrill rides, which are Velocity and Dino Dash. And the four family rides are the Sky Deck, Sky Drop, Meteor, and Swinging Dino. And we have four food places. We have one at the front of the park, one in the middle of the park by the meet and greet, and we have the main eatery, which is the Jurassic Period eatery inside of the Discovery Center, and we have one just outside of the Discovery Center besides Sky Ripper's entry station. So yeah, that was all of the questions that I had got. I know this was a lengthy video, but this is a part of the advertisement period of Jurassic World Discovery. I really hope that you enjoyed this kind of video. I enjoyed making it because I never get asked questions about this park, and it was really interesting to finally answer them and get the responses that I've gotten from the parks, and the responses that I'm going to give to all of you from these questions. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for more videos that will be coming later on today and tomorrow especially, and I hope you have a nice day. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.